I never would tell one of my clients to avoid going somewhere because a certain type of food was being eaten. Because the fact is we're community creatures,
Absolutely.
and community is a big part of whole health. So,
And socialization with food.
exactly.
And sometimes it can create a lot of stress when you're trying to shift and make a lifestyle change,
Yep.
and all these social engagement come to light. And that draws into the season of what we're in now with the summer trends, I guess, for 2025.
Yes. Hi, I'm Kelly Ryan, head nerd with Nerdy Nutrition.
Hi, I'm Tara Antle, nutritionist in private practice with Healthy Balance Holistic Health Group.
So, Tara, why don't you tell us what you do?
Yeah, it's a good way to start, I guess, to introduce ourselves, because we're going to be on each other's social media platforms. As a nutritionist in private practice, I encompass both the dietetic side and holistic side of the nutrition world. I help people make lifestyle changes. So it's not about meal plans, because again, it creates a lot of rigidity. It's about being the healthiest version of ourselves, of what we can be, and how to implement that and make it work. So it's bridging the gap between knowing and doing. People come in sometimes with digestive issues, heart health issues, blood sugar regulation. Hormonal balance is huge. Perimenopausal, menopausal women, any type of fluctuation there as well. Inflammatory response in the body, gut health, it's a full cycle. Nervous system regulation is a big part of it. So it's working through, teaching people how to make those changes, behavioral modifications that go with it, educational components. It's about logistics. How can we pivot in the moment and do what we can, do the best that we can in any given moment? Makes a big difference. As well, I also do workplace wellness, where I'll go out and do lunch and learns. Cooking demonstrations, different things. It's just fun. We make, it's kind of fun having a job that you don't feel like you work at.
Right.
It's a bonus. All my services that are covered by most insurances as well, which is great.
Yeah.
And Kelly, what about you? What's Nerdy Nutrition corporate wellness all about?
So I basically take team engagement, and I take health and wellness, natural nutrition, holistic nutrition, and I merge them together. So whether it's a wellness inspired murder mystery party, or my superhero academy, or actually I have a new one coming. I'm mulling out in my head is
this should be good.
I know, right? I want to create lunch and laughs. So
it's
a little different take on lunch and learns, but it's basically gamifying health and wellness and team engagement.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
It sounds like fun sessions to be at.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So it's kind of great because, it's like you do the practical aspect of it, and I bring the fun aspect.
And that's where, a lot of times when we're making lifestyle changes, we lose the joy and the pleasure that comes with it as well. Like a lot of times people will come in and they'll be like, I ate everything I could these last few days, so I can come in here, get it all out of my system. So now I got to be perfect.
Right.
And there is no perfection in it, because it creates a lot of rigidity and a lot of restriction.
Yeah.
And if we restrict too much, especially food wise, we feel deprived, and it can create a lot of negative emotion and connotation that goes with it. Food and lifestyle can bring and enhance endorphins and serotonin by bringing joy and pleasure. I might love a food, but because now it's on some restrictive list, I have to avoid that food. So, the emotional connection. So I love what you do. And there's more studies that are coming out to show the benefits of laughter on our health. And the traditional side, we don't look at those things.
Yeah. And I love what you said too, because I know when I was in private practice, I never would tell one of my clients to avoid going somewhere because a certain type of food was being eaten. Because the fact is we're community creatures,
Absolutely.
And community is a big part of whole health. So,
and socialization with food.
Exactly.
And sometimes it can create a lot of stress when you're trying to shift and make a lifestyle change, and all these social engagement come to light. And that draws into the season of what we're in now with the summer trends, I guess, for 2025. Socializing and spontaneity and, being footloose, fancy free during summer is a big part of it. And, it's, we don't want to be in the kitchen cooking and prepping and doing a week. It doesn't work this time of year. Even, we eat for the seasons, foods that are appealing in, December, January, and February when it's cold out. Just this time of year, we don't want to have the stove on, and, we want to do quick, easy meals, and we can just fly by the seat of our pants and think one day to the next. 100%. And I think that's a big part of it, that, if we look at trends, which we did do a little bit ago. So yes. We kind of we're looking at Googled, the summer trends for 2025 in Canada, and holistic health approach to wellness is what came up.
And that's exactly it. I love the fact that you looked up what the summer trends were. And that's basically what we want to talk about today, is what some of the summer trends are going to be. And it's looking at holistic health. So how would you describe holistic health?
Holistic health encompasses so much. It's even hard to put a description on it. And when I studied, I had done my dietetic degree in science. So it's a Bachelor of Science in Applied Human Nutrition, a biochem background. And when I went to move to Ottawa and studied holistic nutrition 25 years ago, it was so out in left field. It's like, what are you doing? Holistic health, what is that? Yeah. And it was way out there. But now it's really, really, the word is more user friendly. I think from a traditional side, we look at everything in separate entities. Like if you have heart health issues, this is what you do. If you have blood pressure, blood sugar issues, this is what you do. Everything is in a separate box and not necessarily blended together. From a holistic standpoint, with treating our body as a holistic vessel, we look at one system in the body supports another. So if somebody comes in here and we're talking about heart health, we're also going to be talking about gut health. We're going to be talking about inflammatory response. We're looking at every aspect of that person as a whole being. So that's one aspect of holistic being. The other things we look at as well are, what's your home life like? Are you working shift work? Are you, how can we make this work in a day in a life to help reduce those stresses, those stresses, and looking at nervous system regulation. So it's making time to pause. Yes. And just be in the moment, be out in nature. Think about your breathing patterns when we're out in nature. We don't necessarily have to do yoga and meditation. I mean, it works for some people, but if it doesn't work for you, that's okay too. Yeah. And, just sometimes being out and sitting on that park bench is equally as important for our health as what it is to be running around the park. Yeah. And in North America, we don't view it that way. So it's a learning of how do we step back and pause. Yeah. Even trying to get people and suggesting, sit and eat and be present in the moment at a kitchen table. Even if you're eating for one. Yep. Sometimes it's uncomfortable. Yeah. However, it can make a huge difference to calming, and that actually helps with digestion right off the bat. Yeah. We look at from a holistic standpoint that digestion is key to optimal health and wellness, and we look at inflammation as the root of most disease. Yes. Yeah. 100%, I always say it's basically looking at a person as a whole, whether it's how your digestion is affecting your sleep, how your sleep is then affecting your stress levels, how your stress levels are affecting your digestion, and it's that full circle, right? It's the whole person. And it's, when we look at it that way, because, the comes up that a lot of times when we think lifestyle shift, we go directly to nutrition and exercise. Mm-hmm. And if the pot is stirred with, emotional regulation as part of it, or hormonal imbalances, and our body's in fight or flight mode, we can talk about nutrition and exercise till the cows come home. It's not going to be as effective if we don't work on those other components of our life. And that could be financial stress. It could be, stresses at home. A lot of times people come in and they're like, this was like a counseling session. I'm like, well, counseling's outside my wheelhouse. However, I can refer you somewhere. However, when we look at that full picture in different aspects of life. So, I think the bar and the definition has been changed. If we looked at the definition of health, 30 years in the nursing book, the definition of health was the opposite of illness. Yes. So if you're not ill, you're healthy. Right. Well, that's not quite true. It's not, is it? No. Really. I might feel tired and run down and go get my blood work done. Yeah. and come back a clean bill of health, but doesn't mean I feel well.
Right.
And that's where, again, we've got the bar raised from health to wellness.
Yes.
And this is where nourishment, the concept of nourish and nurture comes into play. But now in this day and age, we've taken a step further that we've got health, wellness, and well-being.
Yes.
And everything gets encompassed together. And I think that's how we need to start looking at our health management of ourselves in our day-to-day lives.
Yeah. And I equate well-being to thriving.
Absolutely.
Right. I mean, you've probably heard both words. And I mean, they can be a little bit of soft words, I guess. But I when you hear one or the other, I equate those kind of at the same level, so.
Absolutely. And, it's finding joy, peace, and contentment in life. The fairy tale of happiness, that's a story. It's make-believe that, we learn about in fairy tales. Yes, happiness is an emotion that we feel. Likewise, sadness, it's encompassing all of that to make us a whole, complete person without having to brush stuff underneath the rug, because it manifests, and that can have an impact on our health.
100%.
Right.
So I know we promised we were going to talk about the summer trends. And when you were looking at the summer trends, the big thing was whole health, and what does that mean? I know a few things you noticed were more natural eating. You saw, different types of meditative exercises like yoga, Tai Chi, getting out in nature more. What else did you see?
It was combining, our health and looking at, simple things. It was more intense activity, more intense workouts in a shorter period of time.
Yes, that's
could
right.
be one as well.
Yeah.
But integrating activities for mindfulness was a big part of it, right? So there's different aspects, even following up with like massage therapy when we're doing different components of it.
Yeah.
It talked more about meal planning and finding like an integrated approach of what works for one.
Yeah.
Keep in mind
I never found meal planning.
No.
Like any of my clients, I remember when I first started out coaching clients one-on-one, I would do the same thing. I would provide meal plans, and the minute there was something on the meal plan that they didn't like or they felt, they were intolerant to or something like that, the whole meal plan was out the window.
Absolutely.
Like the whole thing was gone. It would throw them for a loop.
Yeah.
And so then I found it was more important to find what you like and their lifestyle and start shifting it and making those little baby shifts. Like,
absolutely,
you're going to a summer barbecue, right? Maybe instead of eating potato salad, maybe you're making a homemade potato salad, or maybe you're making
real versus fake. It goes a long way. One of the tricks I always do with that.
Yeah.
So I'll share this in case I come to your house, you'll know what I'm doing.
Right.
A lot of times, like, it's easy to have a starch and a protein at someone else's house, because that's typically, especially with Newfoundland culture, I mean, that's how we roll, right?
Yeah.
But one of the tricks I usually do is I bring a salad or like veggies in dip as a hostess gift.
Yeah.
So I actually went to like the discount stores and bought some of the little trays.
Yeah.
And I'll actually do up either a little salad, or I can do a little veggie tray, and I can put some hummus or tzatziki in that and bring it as a hostess gift. And then the hostess gets to keep it as well. So it's like the presentation of the food. So I would be inclined to bring produce.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times there might be a little bit. So it's one of the gifts that kind of keeps on giving, because there's something in it for me too.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's sharing health, right? Is what we're all about.
Yeah.
And it goes over really well. So even if it was traditional foods that were heavy in, carbohydrate, high fat content, I can balance my own plate out by having my vegetables to go with that. And I can still have a little taste of everything without having to avoid anything.
And then you take away that guilt, like
Absolutely.
that people tend to feel, and there's a lot of, if you have favorites, it's what I call, me being a gamer, because I love my video games.
Absolutely.
It's what I call leveling them up, right? So you can take a Caesar salad and make your own dressing using cashews, believe it or not. It's like we eat this all the time. And maybe instead of croutons, you're doing roasted chickpeas, or you're
Absolutely.
doing
So you know what I do sometimes instead of the bacon bits is I'll use Kellogg's All Bran buds.
oh
So they're high in psyllium fiber, which is really
yeah,
good for reducing cholesterol levels and regulating blood sugars
Yeah.
and controlling the appetite. So we think of it as a cereal.
Yeah.
But as a bacon base on a Caesar salad or any type of salad, just sprinkle them on before you go to eat it, and it's got the crunch of a crouton and it looks like a bacon bit. So it's one of those little tricks, a little hack
that's really cool.
a
I
great
love that.
one, right?
You know,
So it could be options if you happen to be gluten sensitive or celiac. You can also make your own homemade croutons.
Yeah.
So you know if you had the gluten-free bread or
for me, I use sourdough because
that would be another one.
I'm fine with. It's weird.
Yeah.
I'm gluten free. Oh, it just zoomed in on us. Okay.
That's okay.
Apparently it's doing that. Technology. But yeah, like for me, I'm gluten intolerant, sensitive. I have an allergy, whatever. It's not celiac.
Yeah.
So I'm fine with sourdough,
Right.
right? So I'll make my own croutons.
Yeah.
out
And being
of sourdough.
fermented, it's the bacteria. Actually is good for gut health, which is a bonus, right?
Exactly.
So it's easy enough to make your own croutons. Even in an air fryer, you could do those relatively easy just to crunch them up, right?
Yeah.
So, and literally, it doesn't take, I'm going to say 90 seconds to 2 minutes to make your own croutons.
No.
And you can put garlic into it. You can put sometimes I'll do a little bit of garlic powder and onion powder.
Yep.
And with a little bit of,
avocado oil.
Or even extra virgin olive oil on a medium heat and easy peasy.
Yeah.
To jazz that up. So, quick, easy things, but the socialization that comes with food is so important.
It's so important. So that's the big thing is, especially here in Newfoundland, our summers are short usually, although this one's been beautiful so far, knock on wood. So we want to be around people when the sun is out. We want to be out. We want to see people, visit people, right?
Connections are incredible.
It's so important.
Yeah. It was so heartwarming yesterday. I had the opportunity to share in a special birthday with a close family friend or family relative. 100th birthday celebration, a farmer in Kilbride, Leonard Ruby, and just incredible the history of farming. Being hands-on, everything. From being outside and relaxed to he was always out poking around at something. Yep. So sometimes even just being out in the garden is incredible for our health, but the socialization of the togetherness and the community, and that's one thing that struck me yesterday was the community came together between Kilbride and Goulds.
Oh my goodness.
And they had a big tractor parade, and there were signs on the front lawn. The Ruby line was completely backed up. It was absolutely incredible. But that feel of what you have with that togetherness, there was a lot of food, there was a lot of cake, a lot of candies, a lot of sandwiches. There was fruit trays and veg. We can have it all. Yeah, we don't have to pick and choose, and I think that's what happens. And from the holistic standpoint, it's incorporating and learning of how do you fit everything in, as opposed to eliminating. And sometimes again, we look at from a holistic standpoint, we want to support certain systems of the body at different times and different pinpoints, depending on what we've got happening in the moment. Yeah. And, we can make an alternative if we need to. So that's, keeping that in mind as well.
Yeah, 100%. Like, to me, it comes down to making conscious decisions, So if you're going to that barbecue and that there's going to be some alcoholic drinks there and there's going to be like some, cake or cookies or snacks or whatever, it's okay to have things in moderation,
Absolutely.
But maybe instead of having 12 beer, right? Maybe you're having a glass of water in between each beer.
I always joke with my clients and say, if you're going to go drinking, make sure you go double fisted.
Right?
And they're like, what? What did you learn in your session? Say, go double fisted. Yeah. So if you're going to have a drink, have a water with it, and you go back to back. And it actually keeps you hydrated, which is actually going to make the next day a whole lot easier, because hydration really helps with reducing down a hangover, which is win-win. Yeah. I find we get to a certain age where days become so important. Yes. But there's a way to manage it without thinking I can't have those things. Right?
100%.
It's the biggest thing. And the other trick I find as well is not to go in the front door hungry. A lot of times, if we know we're going out somewhere, we tend not to eat as much during the daytime because, hey, I know I'm going to have these extras coming tonight. And in reality, you want to make sure you're full food, like getting those, full breakfast, full lunch, or snacks in. And I usually throw in an extra snack before I leave to go. Because sometimes a meal might be 6:30, it could be 5 o'clock, it could be 8:30, 9 o'clock, depending on where you go. So that's the other trick of what you can do as well. And that way you're not starving, because when we're hungry is when we do damage, food wise, because a craving is nature's way of letting us know that we're running low on fuel. And if we're hungry and we're craving and we're starving, all those extras that are in play, all the healthy stuff could be there, and our body's just not going to want it in the moment. And that's where we want to, really enjoy it all. And you'll naturally eat less of certain foods by having that extra snack. It's not going to ruin the event. It's not going to ruin anything. But it actually helps you enjoy your food better and the company better, because hangry is a thing. Yeah,
it is. I remember when me and my husband first got together, we would leave work and this is back when Future Shop was still on the go. Okay, so I'm dating this now. But we would always go and poke around Future Shop, right? And I'd start out and I'm all nice and happy. Then after a little while, it's almost like you could see the mood draining from my face, right? and he'd be like, I mean, we were fairly new going out, like within the first year, and he'd be like, "What is wrong with you?" And I'm like, "I'm hungry." Right? Like, okay, let's go. So hangry,
it takes the joy. Like,
it does.
It's a physiological response, and our body's in fight or flight in that moment. And peripheral vision, like our vision changes, the cravings intensify, and it's just like, I need something now. We're impatient sometimes because we think hunger is when our stomach growls. That's actually starvation. Hunger started 2 or 3 hours ago when you could feel a shift in mood. So it's important to pay attention to that. So a lot of people, I get a lot of referrals in from counselors and physicians for individuals with anxiety because it revs, right? It doesn't take it away, but it can actually help with coping mechanisms by focusing on, fueling our body as opposed to starving our body. Now, there's a concept.
I know, right? And that's very true too. So again, back to the whole barbecue analogy, right? When you're going in and you're starved going to this barbecue, your mood won't be as good because your blood sugar is probably lower. Which when your blood sugar dips, that affects your mood. But then it is that whole hangry thing, right? So then you're going in, and if there's chips out, you're grabbing those chips. If there's candies, you're grabbing the candies, right? Anything.
Your body needs sugar now because you're running low. So a body has built-in survival mechanism called homeostasis, where it constantly tries to regulate itself. So that's why we start shifting. It doesn't mean that you're diabetic.
No,
it's just a natural stance within a normal range that we find that. And the fruit tray and veggie tray can be there, and I'm telling you, your body's not going to want it. Be like, oh, I can't stomach that right now, and we blame it all on willpower. We think, what's wrong with me? And I'm going to say 90% of the time it's a physiological response that we don't recognize in our world, right?
100%.
Important to pay attention to those cues, because our body has a way of letting us know what's going on and how to respond when we need to. Right? The other trick I do during the summer months as well is I always keep a camping chair in the trunk of my car. And that way I can pull up anywhere and sit out and, read a book for a half hour, or even here in the clinic, we'll sit out on the front lawn sometimes. Now, the last couple of weeks we've been kind of low key because we have a seagull on the roof that has a nest. And not a seagull doesn't like us out around.
No.
So this is where, again, it comes into play that, it's being out in nature and enjoying it and just pausing and being in the moment. The togetherness of it, one of the trends as well talked about, group activities. And so whether it be, because we think activities is a physical activity, but, group activities of, maybe doing a workplace wellness or, taking, work outside sometimes can make a big difference as well. We think at the kids during the summer and day camps and, outside, inside, and sometimes we just have to be a kid at heart and go with the flow and enjoy it.
100%.
And have fun with it.
And I mean, as adults, we can kind of forget how to have fun.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, not we
Oh,
can, kind of. We totally forget. Like,
yeah.
call a spade a spade. We totally forget how to have fun,
It's true.
you know, because life happens,
Exactly.
you know. But being able to have fun, be a kid again, you know,
It's finding that youthful spirit,
it
I think.
is.
One of the challenges I'll sometimes challenge my clients with, or when I give a seminar, is asking, like, when was the last time you did something for the first time?
Yeah.
Because you think our youth and growing up, everything was new, it was an adventure.
Yeah.
And then we kind of get stagnant in life and we kind of lose that a little bit. So I'm going to encourage you to kind of think, what's something that I loved? And, you know, it might be something that brings you back to your youth. I know there's lots of places around the island now that you can rent bicycles and,
Yeah.
you know, just freedom, right? Think about when you were 10, 11, 12 years old and bike riding. So much is still there,
Yep.
you know, but things that can bring that joy. You know, one of the things I did a few years ago was I stood in a field for the first time with open horses, and I'd never done that. And they were curious, I can tell you that. And they came over, and you know, I stood there, and my heart rate was like, my heart was pounding out of my chest. I was like, what am I doing? Because they were like giants next to me, and it's like, I've got to trust. But they were so friendly, and you know, the kindest, most compassionate animal that you could even meet.
Yeah.
Right. So, you know, it's spending time with animals, it's spending time with family and friends, and being out there and enjoying that. And whether you're at home, a workplace, summer vacation, it's that togetherness. Think about how it feels when we're on vacation, right? That we really, you know, endorphins and serotonin get going more. You know, unless you're unless it's a stressful situation, like we ran into last year driving a motorhome with a car in tow and accidentally ended up in New York City in 5 o'clock traffic on a Friday. Whole other story there as well, but we made it through. We survived. Stress levels go up here. But it's having you know, fun and flow with it. I think the world that we're in, you know, there's so much uncertainty. There's a lot of heaviness. This whole year so far has been heavy.
You know, something last 5 years.
It has been,
It's been a heavy 5 years.
Accumulating, right? You know, it just builds and builds and builds. But it's taking a time to pause and say, okay, what can I do today for myself? And kind of removing from that, it makes a big difference because it changes how we think.
And it doesn't have to be something big, you know. It can be a 5-minute box breathing exercise.
Absolutely.
You know, it could be just going out and one thing I love about here where we live here in St. John's, there's tons of walking paths that are very accessible.
Absolutely.
You know, I mean, I've got one like 5 minutes from my house, so
incredible.
I love taking the dog and just
absolutely
like walk it. But whether you have AirPods on or whether you want to just listen to the nature, you know, being able to go and just spend a couple minutes.
Absolutely. And it doesn't have to be like, you know, an hour at a time. Like if you've got 10, 15 minutes, something is enough.
I think 15 minutes is the time that they say you start getting the best benefit.
Right.
Right. But it doesn't have to be an hour.
Yeah.
Like at 15 minutes, you're getting an amazing benefit. It could be going out to your backyard, taking your shoes off and standing in the grass.
In the grass, right?
You know?
Sensory, because I think, you know, we're overstimulated in the world that we're in, right? So it's like, how do we calm and soothe and ground ourselves in that, as opposed to the go, 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 because that's what makes a difference there as well.
100%.
One of the trails I love locally, because again, even like if mobility issues and things like that, isn't at Kenny's Pond, they have it all paved.
Yes.
So you go in there and I love it. You see seniors in there with their walkers and canes, and it's just so delightful to walk around, and they're just as happy to see us as what we are to see them. And you know, it's incredible. But you know, just getting out there, because it can create, you know, it does so much for our health, and we lose sight of that. The little things of what we do on for our health on a daily basis add up to have the biggest impact. It does not need to be a drastic change.
It doesn't. It really doesn't. And one thing I'm constantly telling people is pick the easiest thing that you can maintain when you get busy. You know, start there.
Absolutely.
Right? And you'll start noticing when you make one change, other changes fall into place.
It doesn't have to be all or none.
No.
It's enjoyment and pleasure that goes with it. And focus on what you are doing as opposed to what you are not doing.
Yeah.
And that's another thing that's really important as well.
Yeah. Don't look at depriving, look at adding in, you know, or replacing, right?
It enhances quality of life and well-being, and that's what this is all about.
Yeah.
So hopefully that helps.
Yes.
I know we can rattle on for a while.
I know.
Kelly and I, when we get together, we have that tendency. But you can follow us along on we're obviously we came together to do this because again we feed off each other when we have conversation, and this is what it's about. Let's get the conversation started. You can follow us individually on our platforms on social media. On Facebook, you can follow me under Nutritionist Tara Antle, as well as on Healthy Balance Holistic Health Group. Same thing on LinkedIn. It's there's a Healthy Balance page, but there's also a Tara Antle Nutritionist page as well, and Healthy Balance under Instagram and Twitter.
Yeah. You can follow me on LinkedIn. Personally, it's Kelly R. Ryan, and the business is Nerdy Nutrition. Or you can find me on my website, nerdynutrition.ca.
I forgot my website.
Yes,
thanks for that. My website is healthy-balance.ca.
Perfect. Yeah. So I think just a little wrap up. The big thing that we wanted to talk about was summer trends, and holistic health. You know, and the summer trends really are holistic health this year. Getting outside, eating real foods, working on mindset, quick exercises, you know. So what I would love to know, and if you could leave it in the comments, that would be great, is what is one thing that you can pick that you can add in this summer that's going to,
absolutely
going to lead to a bit more of a holistic health and wellness in your life.
Absolutely. I just thought of another one too as we're cluing up there of what comes up during summer months and hot days is ice cream.
Yes.
So your challenge with that is, and I'd love to hear what your favorites are. Think local and think homemade versus store-bought.
Yeah.
So we have at home, we're going to eat a lot of it. But if we go to places that actually make it themselves, it'd be an incredible way, or like higher grade, higher quality. The Parlor up on Military Road's a great place.
Yeah.
Newfoundland Chocolate Company, Aunt Sarah's out in Trinity. You know, there's another place in Bonavista that we visited last summer. So there's all kinds of these little places creeping up. Because we have to go out to it, it creates an event around it. And it's a one-off. Price point's going to be a little bit higher on it, but because it's a one-off, it makes it, you know, adjustable.
Yeah.
The biggest thing is if you're going to have an extra, have it in addition to your healthy food and not in replacement of your healthy food. So if I went and had an ice cream and I was starving, I'm probably going to have like a really, really large, like maybe 2 scoops.
Yeah.
But if I had my snack and it was just an extra, you know, sometimes it can be a smaller kitty size, and you know that way we can have it all. So that's another one. I'd like to know your favorite homemade ice cream spots across Newfoundland and Labrador, even across the, you know, people are chiming in from other areas as well. Let us know because people will be traveling. There's a lot of movement across Canada this summer, so it would be great to know your favorite hidden ice cream. Local little parlors with homemade ice cream.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. So after you watch this, tell us what you think. Would you like to see more of this? Do you have any questions? And what topics would you like us to cover? Because this might be a fun little series that we can do.
Awesome. Thanks so much for chiming in. Happy summer.
Yes. Have a great summer, and we will see you soon.
Take care. Bye. Bye.